Have you been confused by all the information out there about past lives? If so, this video is for you. Welcome back to another video. My name is Matt Schmidt and I guide people to heal themselves. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the things that I've learned over the past several years of guiding people through past lives. And stick around to the end where I'll be sharing with you a guided process that you can do in the comfort of your own home, where you can learn more about your own past lives and get some insights that way. So with the work that I do, I initially discovered the work of Dolores Cannon, who is a lady who has since passed away, but a lot of her work was taking people in deep states of relaxation, using hypnosis to guide people to these deeper states. And she'd be discovering things about other lifetimes that people had. And at the time, no one was talking about this stuff. And that was a lot of her work. So she considered herself like the reporter of lost knowledge, and she would explore different lifetimes, different life existences, and started uncovering information that wasn't known in like mainstream archaeology and stuff like that. So she would take people through these life experiences and was finding out all this information that we've since determined to be true. So I thought this was just kind of pretty fascinating. So when we're talking about past lives, I should point this out that these are actually more of parallel lives. So I get corrected by people I'm working with when I say past lives, because really it's a parallel incarnation, because everything's happening in this now moment. And that's a whole other video. So I'm going to use past lives for terms of simplicity in this, and so that everyone can kind of keep up with this. But just know in the back of your mind that these are actually parallel incarnations that are happening simultaneously. It could really lose you in there, and I don't even fully understand it. But I do get corrected that these aren't past, that these are parallel lives that are happening now. All right, but I'm going to use past lives in terms of this. All right, so through her work, she started finding out lots of information about things, but in her work too, she is also discovering that what happened in those other lifetimes translated into things that are happening in this lifetime. So what happens is a lot of these things carry over. Sometimes physical trauma carries over, and it carries over almost like a residue from that other life experience. So let's say you had your head chopped off in another lifetime. You may be experiencing neck or back pain because of that trauma in that other lifetime. And it almost like it bleeds through into this lifetime. So she started finding out that people were actually getting physical healing by going back to these lifetimes, analyzing them, processing them, and releasing that stuff, because that wasn't their life now. So they're able to release that trauma, that memory from that experience. Right. This is a powerful method for healing, and it started to actually evolve into this whole healing modality. And that's kind of where I pick stuff up as. I wasn't really as focused on the past life stuff. Back in her time, it was focusing a lot on like karmic debt, which really isn't even a thing anymore. This idea that if you did something bad in another lifetime, you'd have to like pay it back almost like a punishment. I've been told multiple times that was holding Earth back from ascending, so they just got rid of the debt altogether. I see the karma now almost like a balancing of experience. So there's kind of this push-pull with the universe, and you have to play both parts to have a full experience. So if you did something to someone, you have to be on the other side of something similar so that you can experience what that's like being in the other person's shoes. But it's not a punishment. It's just so that you can have that experience. And that's really what the whole life experience is. Coming to Earth is to have this experience. So I see that as being a powerful healing technique, not to get rid of karmic debt, but to kind of process things that happened in the past and move forward in this life. This is a great time for healing on this planet, and a lot of us came back because we knew this. We knew that this was going to be a powerful time on this planet, where we can actually heal a lot of these other experiences. Anytime I dive into some of this work, I'm like, didn't these other versions ever do anything? It feels like I'm doing it all. But the beauty of being in this time period now is that we can go through stuff so much faster. We can process things so much faster. And it's actually healing those other lifetimes. Because this is a parallel lifetime, the healing that we're doing in this in this lifetime now actually translates over the other way. Just like how that trauma can bleed through this way, the healing can actually ripple out to those other incarnations. So it's bigger than just us in this lifetime. It's actually healing multiple timelines kind of simultaneously. I have found that in my work, I would say most of people's stuff is stuff that's happening in this lifetime. So I don't want people to get too caught up into this because I see an issue there. I would say maybe about only 5% of the thousands of issues I've taken people through actually are tied to a past life experience. Okay, so don't get too caught up in the past lives, because we go there if we need to, but I wouldn't start there as far as like trying to figure out where my issues are coming from. So the problem I see is I get all these people wrapped up into these past lives, and they'll come to me and they have to catalog them all. They'll start listing them all, like, I was Cleopatra in this lifetime, and I worked with Abraham Lincoln in this lifetime, and I was an Atlantean priestess in this lifetime. And I'm thinking, well, you're on your 5th husband and your kids don't talk to you. Let's focus on now. They're almost using it to bypass their experience now and avoid the stuff that they actually came here to deal with. You came here for this lifetime now. You can learn a lot from these experiences, but you can also lose yourself in them. And people almost use it as a way of avoidance to actually deal with their crap now. So don't get too wrapped in them. You can learn a lot from them. They are useful, but don't use them to bypass your own issues. Okay. One of the things that I got confused by is that I started having people with multiple lifetimes as the same person. So I've heard multiple people say that they were Jesus in a past life. I was like very confused by this in the beginning, but exploring this even deeper, I found out that they're tapping into these other lifetimes, almost like they're downloading these lifetimes for this experience now. So there's a similar energy that they wanted to carry over into this lifetime, similar lessons they wanted to learn. Maybe they wanted to be a teacher like Jesus, so they downloaded that lifetime. My teacher, Dolores Cannon, refers to these as imprint lifetimes, and I find that to be pretty accurate. I was very confused, like, how can multiple people be the same thing? Are these part of the same soul? And what I found is that they're actually taking these lifetimes on, not all of them. I mean, someone actually had to be Jesus. So, I mean, not saying that these are all imprint lifetimes, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. They're really all of our lifetimes. Like, there's no separation in that field. So technically, because we're all really one consciousness, they're all of our lifetimes. So all of us are aspects of Jesus. All of us are aspects of Abraham Lincoln. So we can tap into those lifetimes because there is no separation in that field. But what I see is a lot of times we download these into our consciousness because we want to learn some of the same things. When that happens, I usually try to look at the bigger picture. What is the theme here? What is the theme woven through these other lifetimes, these life experiences? And that tells me more about why they're coming up for a person. Sometimes I think, doing this work and just kind of seeing where people are at, I think sometimes things are packaged as past lives. Because literally it's the exact same stuff that's going on in their life now. And I think it's kind of a nice way to sugarcoat it, because if it's too in the person's face or it's directed at them, a lot of times that creates resistance. But if it's another lifetime, then they're kind of removed from it, even though it's the exact same thing. So I think sometimes the higher consciousness hands it to us in those terms, or hands it to us in that way, so that we can process it easier and it's not like this personal attack. Because if it's given to us to some people too in their face, they're just going to throw up walls and they're not going to get anything from it. Well, that's not me. And they won't get what they need to from it. So I think it's packaged that way. I also think that if we didn't learn what we needed to in those other lifetimes, we come back again to have some of those same experiences. You don't learn everything you need to in a lifetime. So especially like back in the day, maybe we didn't have the knowledge that we have now. So it was a different experience back then. And a lot of times it was just going through that experience. You didn't learn what you needed to. Maybe you were kind of a dick in that lifetime. Okay, well, you need to come back and kind of resolve that in this lifetime. So it gets repackaged. You come back with a lot of the same people, and you're like, hey, let's try it this way again. It'll be a little bit easier this time, and you can actually heal that whole timeline, both forward and backward. So look at the theme and then ask, how does it pertain to your life now? Okay, this can be really, really useful information, but just like any experience, what are you going to do with it? You can have the best experiences in the world. You can get all this information. At the end of the day, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to use it? Doing the work that I do, sometimes people feel like they made a lot of it up. I even tell them flat out before we even start, I'm like, I don't care if you made the whole thing up. What'd you learn? Still trying to show you the same thing, still trying to teach you the same thing. If you don't believe in past lives, I don't care. Doesn't matter. Think of it as a story. What did you learn from that story? We can learn a lot by telling the storytelling process and figuring out how it pertains to their life and what they're going to do about it. How are you going to change this? How are you going to make this better? All those same questions are still there. If it did or happen, if it didn't happen, maybe it did, maybe it didn't. Does it really matter at the end of the day? We're so tied to this. Don't get attached to this. Well, I was Jesus. I was this. I was Cleopatra. I was Abraham Lincoln. Neat. What'd you learn from that experience? What are you going to do with it now? Regardless, it's stuff that happened in the past. You're here to focus on now. Even some of the people, they come to me and they're like, well, I just don't want to be here. Well, you chose to be here. Suck it up. Don't be hyper focused on those other life experiences. Maybe it was like other planets that you were on and you don't like Earth. Well, you chose to be here. You came here for a reason. You came here for a purpose. Ride with it. Okay. Your soul is learning. It's growing. It's from this experience. If you're resisting the experience, you're missing the point of being here. Do you really want to do it again if you didn't want to be here the first time? Suck it up. Learn what you need to. I know it's tough love, but yeah, that part of you, that part of your soul chose to be here for this time on this planet. All right, if you don't learn what you need to, you have to come back. It's like flunking a grade in school. If you didn't learn what you need to in 3rd grade, you're not going to move on to 4th grade, so learn what you can while you're here. All right. One of the things that really put stuff into perspective for me, to see how connected everything was and to kind of detach from all the things that we get caught up in. I know I used this as an example before, but one of the ones that really stuck with me was there was a person who was experiencing physical issues in this lifetime from carrying guilt and shame from a past lifetime where they had killed a bunch of people in battle. And by exploring this past lifetime, they were able to see, like, yeah, they killed a bunch of people and they were still carrying over that emotional trauma. And usually taking a person through the death scene to kind of process this, when people go transition to the other side, they usually meet like guides and loved ones and angels or whatever they expect. And the person waiting for this guy were the people he killed. Okay, well, this is going to get interesting. And they showed up to thank him for the experience of being killed by him. Think about that. They showed up to thank him for being killed by him. They agreed to have that collective experience. It was a tough role that he had to play, but they knew that going in, and it was all predetermined before they even came into this incarnation. All right, so having that perspective, it's easier to detach from a lot of the things that really keep us stuck. A lot of the people that give us the toughest lessons in this lifetime are really the ones that are closest to us in our soul family, our soul groups, because they're the ones that teach us the most. You don't learn a lot from the things that are all like sunshine and rainbows. You learn a lot from the crunchy stuff. Or I guess that you have the opportunity to learn the most from that. So that's why these people are placed in our paths. And if we didn't have that, there'd be no reason to change. There'd be no reason to do anything different. And we wouldn't learn what we needed to. So that's the whole reason for coming here. You can still learn on the other side. It's just not at a fast rate like it is here. There's the reason that there's so much duality and so much for extremes in both, like the positive side, negative side, if you want to look at it that side, the light and dark side, is for that range of experiences. Okay. So by having a broad range of experiences, you can learn a lot more. If it's all happy and sunshine and everything, you're not going to learn as much. So that's the reason you come here. All right. with my own experiences, I kind of want to share with my own experiences. I had one of the past lives that came up for me, or past lifetimes, was a lifetime in Egypt. Okay, so I think it came up for me. Was it my lifetime? Was it not? I don't know. Don't care. It's what I needed at the time. And part of that was actually seeing this person as a leader of people. And by tapping into that lifetime, I was able to further embody this leadership role that I was kind of like hesitant to step into. I've been like keeping myself small because of my own fears, my own insecurities, my own, I don't even know what. It was just a pile of crap that was kind of keeping me stuck. But I knew that that's where I wanted to head, so that was the lifetime that was given to me. And part of what I did by traveling to Egypt was to integrate those aspects of me. Was it real? Was it not? I don't know. being in Egypt, tapping into that lifetime, it felt very real. From that experience, I know there was huge shifts. Like I couldn't feel. I mean, I felt it. I mean, some of them were so intense where it was like I thought I was going to throw up. And I don't know. How do you fake that? So was it real? Was it not? I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's what I needed at that time to further step into this role. So what things are being handed to you? Maybe there's a life theme. Maybe there's a pattern with something you need to process. We weren't all everyone famous. Look around. Not everyone has like a lifetime that's in a history book, okay? Or every lifetime was in a history book. There's like regular people. You have to have those other experiences. So by embodying some of these more pronounced lifetimes, I guess we can see things a little bit clearer sometimes. And I think the universe gives us those experiences in that way to give us what we need for us at the time. If I did a past life regression again, I probably don't need that one. So I'll probably get something else. Okay, so that's a good point. Don't get too hung up on did this happen? Did this happen? Oh, I was this, I was this, I was this. No, you're you now in this moment. Be you now. Okay, take what you want, take what you can learn from those experiences and move forward. How are you going to use those in your life? How are you going to integrate those? All right, I have a great video for you to learn about your past lives, your past life experiences, and it's a guided process you can do in the comfort of your own home. It's free. You can do it as many times as you want. This is the same process I take people through in my group sessions where we do past life exploration. It's the same guided process. So I'm posting that in the description below, and on YouTube it will be, I don't know, maybe there. All right, I'll have a link to it there. There's also a link in the description. So click on that. Share in the comments what came up for you. I think it's cool to have other people see other people's experiences, other people's stories. And the big thing, what'd you learn from it? All right. All right, we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.